Mr. Speaker, the Honourable Prime Minister, Ministers, Assistant Ministers, the Honourable Leader of Opposition, Honourable Members of Parliament, and dear Fiji. Isayandra Vinaka, Namaste, Assalamu Alaikum, and a very good morning. Before I begin sharing my ministerial statement on proxy means test, Mr. Speaker, I also want to go back and reflect on what I shared yesterday on SCORE Index. The SCORE Index findings shows that there is high level of trust and openness to peaceful coexistence and reconciliation among Fijians. However, we are operating in a climate where polarizing stories and harmful stereotypes still hold ground, threatening to pull us apart. I called on the members of this Honourable House to set example through the discourse and debate. And in response, Honourable Viren Lal did completely opposite while speaking about social cohesion. He spoke about a break-in at a temple in Tavoa, insinuating it as an ethnic crime of religious intolerance. Desecration of any religious space is not acceptable and must be denounced in strongest terms. This month, a temple in Ba has been broken into multiple times and burnt, while a temple in Nosori was broken into as well. But guess what, Mr. Speaker? Navur Mosque, the country's oldest mosque, was broken into for the first time in its history in April 2025. Intruders forced open a storage door and stole assorted items valued at approximately 6,500. Masjid Mohammadi Mulomolo Mosque was targeted twice in short period in 2024. In early 2025, Wanandoi Markaz Mosque was broken into alongside two nearby temples. Money was stolen from the donation box. Maruru Mosque in Ba in November 2025, an unknown individual entered the sound system room and stole a 6-microphone amplifier. Kinoya AOG Church has been broken into 4 times this year, Mr. Speaker, and in the last heist, they walked away with a safe with $10,000. Just ahead of this past Easter, Mount St. Mary's Church and School in Namaka Nandi were broken into in the early hours of March 11, 2026. Perpetrators forced entry into a church's small chapel, stole the tabernacle, and later scattered the Holy Eucharist in a nearby field, causing significant shock and sadness to the Catholic community. I did not hear the opposition MP standing in this House and denouncing these acts. All these acts must be denounced in strongest terms. But these are not race-based crimes.
One moment, Minister, point of order by Honourable Maharaj.
Honourable Speaker, point of order under 61.
61.
60, subsection 1.
Yes.
Honourable Speaker, what Minister is talking about is with regards to the ministerial statement made yesterday and response by opposition member. You have made your ruling with regards to that particular issue. Minister needs to stick to the statement she is supposed to give today, and if she wants to do an explanation, she can do it under standing order IT under self-explanation. She should not be taking the time from ministerial statement to respond to a statement that was given yesterday, and you have just given a ruling to that.
Yeah,
Thank you, Honourable Speaker.
I agree, Honourable Minister. Can you stay away from the issue that I raised with the Honourable Lal? Because that has to be clarified by tomorrow. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, only thing I wanted to say was that social cohesion is everyone's responsibility. And when we take a leadership role, when we are leaders in this House, we must represent and take care of all ethnicities and all faiths in this country. Especially in a world full of conflicts, our peace is very precious and we have to all work towards it. Mr. Speaker, today I wish to inform this august House of important reforms approved by our Cabinet to strengthen the Family Assistance Scheme and to ensure that a social protection system continues to protect Fiji's poorest households with fairness, accuracy and dignity. Honourable Speaker, the Family Assistance Scheme is Fiji's primary poverty-targeted program among the 6 social protection programs run under our ministry. It provides a critical safety net for households living in extreme hardship and complements our life course social protection programs that support Fijians during childhood, maternity, old age, and disability. Under its current design, the FAS seeks to target the poorest 10% of the households. While the 2019-2020 household income and expenditure survey shows that 24% of our population lives below the national poverty line, the scheme is focused on reaching the poorest of the poor. However, poverty and vulnerability are not static. Households move in and out of hardship as they face opportunities or shocks. This makes accurate targeting challenging, especially when reassessments are infrequent and resource-intensive, particularly in our maritime and remote communities. Honourable Speaker, the proxy means test, or the PMT, is the tool used to approximate household welfare and determine eligibility for the FAS. Our officers, when they receive an application for our social protection programs, would go into a home and make an assessment. The proxy means test is that assessment of assets that the applicant has, and it often overlooks the qualitative, that is who, how, when was the asset procured and how it is being used. Some of these items may be gifted or purchased earlier. Currently, if there are assets found in a home, it disqualifies the family from accessing assistance as assets denote resources. The current PMT model was developed using 2008-2009 Household Income Expenditure Survey, or HIS, data, now 16 years out of date. Fiji's economy, technology, and household asset patterns have changed significantly since then. Cabinet has therefore endorsed the implementation of an updated PMT model based on 2019-2020 HIS. This updated model uses a shorter set of variables and improves targeting accuracy by 7 to 8 percentage points in both urban and rural areas. While PMT-based approaches globally face inherent limitations, this update represents a meaningful improvement for Fiji. The PMT will continue to operate alongside the special categories for consideration, which allows welfare officers to include vulnerable groups such as nomads, street dwellers, caregivers of persons with disabilities, and those with chronic illness. This hybrid approach remains essential in ensuring that no vulnerable household is left behind. Mr. Speaker, it means that our officers and assessment teams must scrutinize applications beyond that which meets the eye and must consider salient and underlying issues that may have contributed to the hardship that the applicant faces. Honourable Speaker, several medium to long-term recommendations will be brought forward and include indexing the FAS eligibility threshold to inflation so that it continues to reflect the poorest 10% of the households, expanding the special categories for consideration, ensuring they are clearly defined, verifiable, and reflected in the scheme's standard operating procedures. Reassessing the existing caseload of approximately 24,000 households using a phased, carefully managed approach supported by a strong public communication strategy and a robust grievance redress mechanism. Exploring term options to reduce reliance on the PMT, the proxy means test, including alternative approaches to closing social protection coverage gaps and reducing poverty. This may include assessing the feasibility and value of a higher coverage child benefit program, which international evidence shows can reduce child poverty, strengthen human capital, and improve shock responsiveness. These recommendations align with the National Development Plan's commitment to reducing poverty from 24% to 18% by 2030, and to progressively realize the universal right to social protection. Honourable Speaker, these reforms are grounded in extensive consultations. The Ministry convened workshops with frontline welfare officers from across the country and engaged the Ministry of Finance, the Budget Division, the National Planning Division, and the Fiji Bureau of Statistics. Their insights have been invaluable in shaping a practical and evidence-based way forward. Cabinet has endorsed the following immediate budget-neutral actions: to implement the updated PMT model and integrate the updated welfare assessment form into the integrated beneficiary management system currently under development, to maintain the PMT exclusively for the FAS, the Family Assistance Scheme, while continuing to rely on categorical eligibility for other social protection programs that are performing well. to retain the hybrid targeting approach, combining the PMT score with special categories for consideration, to commit to updating the PMT every 5 years aligned with the release of new HIS data, and explore building in-house statistical capacity for future updates. Honorable Speaker, these steps will ensure that the FAS remains fair, transparent, and responsive to realities faced by Fiji's poorest households. They represent a responsible and evidence-based approach to strengthening our social protection system and ensuring value for money in the use of public resources. Honorable Speaker, the reforms endorsed by Cabinet mark an important step toward a modern, accurate, and inclusive social protection system. They reaffirm government's commitment to protecting the most vulnerable, reducing poverty, and ensuring that every Fijian can live with dignity and security. A key focus of our social protection system is economic shock response, and as such, Honorable Prime Minister has announced government's response to the current fuel price crisis and the rising cost of living. The coalition government has approved a 50% emergency top-up for all citizens currently enrolled in our social protection programs. This temporary measure, spanning from May to July 2026, provides immediate financial relief to those supported by family assistance, care and protection, social pension, disability allowance, rural pregnant mothers, and transport assistance scheme. We are ensuring that our most vulnerable populations, including the elderly, persons living with disability, and low-income families, possess the necessary resources to manage essential daily costs such as food, transport, and electricity during this period of global economic volatility. The administration of this support has been designed for maximum efficiency and accessibility, requiring no additional applications or documentations from existing recipients. The first enhanced payment will be available from today, delivered directly through established payment accounts to ensure there is no delay in relief. We trust our citizens to prioritize the most urgent basic needs with these additional funds. However, the Ministry will maintain active communication through official social media platforms to provide updated payment rates and ensure every recipient is fully informed of the support available to them. We are issuing a strong warning against opportunistic scammers and urge the public to exercise extreme caution during fund withdrawals. We specifically advise elderly recipients and those unfamiliar with digital banking to seek assistance only from bank tellers or trusted family members. Dedicated hotlines have been established across the Central, Northern, and Western divisions to provide immediate support, reflecting our unwavering commitment to protecting both the livelihoods and the dignity of all those we serve. For Central Division, it's 998-1053, for Northern, 990-6187, and Western, 990-4182. These numbers are available on our social media pages. Updates on the top-up rates will also be available on our social media pages. With that, I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I thank the Honourable Kiran, Minister for Women, Children and Social Protection.